Hey, Meta.
Meta,
You.
you.
I'm Micah. I wrote a book and self-published it, and it did pretty well on Amazon. Bam! I'll put it right there. I also publish a anthology every year, a horror anthology with a bunch of awesome authors, and it does really well, and it's all for charity. And now I help other people publish books, new authors getting into the self-publishing sphere. I help them do that, and every Friday I get to kick it with my girl and talk about all the awesome things. I like long walks on the beach, and I am 25 years old. Okay. Your turn. Go. We've only got we
Okay.
got 2 minutes for an intro.
Okay, Chelsea here. I write books. I like to write dark epic fantasy. I show up on a couple of the anthologies Micah has done. Hopefully this year again. Let's just be honest. I have written The Blood of the Lion, The Mark of the Dam, The Dance of Destiny. Now, The Scars of the Wicked is coming out here. I am just hoping that it all works out. So, that being said, I've done a few short stories. I have written a dark kids book that is, I'm not sure if it's kids friendly, let's be honest.
Oh, it's great. It's very kids friendly.
Yeah.
Very kids friendly.
And I am a coffee addict and will find any way to drink my coffee. And I like music. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
So apparently, Meta thinks that authors and books. I'm not talking just indie authors. I'm not talking like the peons. All authors and all books have no value.
Yep.
Zero value. Has anyone seen this article yet? It is ridiculous. This is from Vanity Fair. I'll read a couple lines that I highlighted, and then I'll put them up so you can follow along. Meta has said that while the company has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in LLM development, they see no market in paying authors to license their books because for there to be a market, there must be something of value to exchange. But none of the plaintiffs' works has economic value. None of the plaintiffs' works have economic value. So out of these 7 million books that Meta stole, and we talked about this a few weeks ago. I'll put the link in somewhere. I don't know how that works, here, or in comments, whatever. I'll put it there. We talked about it. Meta stole basically everybody's works. I mean, from the highest paid authors and most popular authors to the indie authors, everybody got stolen, and they're in court now. And what Meta's lawyers are saying is that it's fair use because none of this has any value whatsoever. Yeah. So authors, writers, Mr. King, Rowling, whoever else, you have no value. None of the stories in all of history, none of the books in the world have any value according to Meta. They go on to say, if we license one single book, that means pay for it, license it to use it to teach its AI. If we license one single book, we won't be able to lean into fair use strategy. Okay. So they're basically saying, if we were to admit that there was value in authors, value in books, if we were to do the right legal thing and pay the authors for these works that we're feeding into our system, then we would lose the right to claim fair use and be able to do it all for free.
Cheers.
Yeah. So that's the topic of conversation today, folks, is you're worthless. Your works are worthless. You mean nothing. Go kick rocks.
And welcome back to the Not a Podcast.
Yep, here we are, Indie Authors Unplugged. We like to talk about all the things. We like to talk about our lives, our writings, our journeys, our failures, our successes, and we like to talk about what's going on in the community. So, Chelsea, how do you think about being worthless? And yeah,
it's a beautiful feeling, honestly. Good. I don't have any pressures to perform anymore. So
yeah. Nor should you.
No.
Nor should you perform. You should just
Bye.
Get a job in an office with some soul-sucking fluorescent lighting.
Love
and
it.
And a dying plant in the corner, and just type numbers. That's what you should do.
I'm in. I'm working my way there. I think
Good.
That's where we all should be. Screw the creative outlets and all that, music, anything. So this Meta thing had me thinking this morning, because that's how much we prepare. Is I took 5 minutes to prepare,
Yep. Yep.
you know, because
Hence
I had
the chaos and creativity.
yeah.
Yeah.
The question was edit my manuscript or take 5 minutes and research some meta stuff, and I was like, oh, for the sake of this, do some meta stuff.
Yeah, dude, just give us 5 minutes of your of your not valuable time.
Yeah,
Give us five
yeah.
minutes of your not valuable time.
Yeah, exactly. So, what was a huge shocker is the Meta lawsuit has blown up. Everybody's heard about the copyright stuff, the pirating books, everything like that. That is one of over a dozen lawsuits Meta is dealing with right now.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's what I thought was really interesting. Obviously, these are ongoing court cases that last years in the making.
Right.
We've already talked about the fact that this lawsuit with Meta and the pirating is several few years in the making now. But what was really interesting is that I have come to learn, and I think a lot of us had probably already come to this conclusion, but there are other lawsuits starting up or already ongoing about the pirating and training these large language models, with our data, which is not valued at all. So thank
Not
you,
at all,
everybody.
right? Right.
But it's not just books and authors, it's musicians, it's creatives, it's the actual artists that are painting and things like that.
Right.
So
Everything. Yeah.
there's a multitude of different lawsuits going on right now, but one that really stood out to me, which is actually one that George R. Martin is a part of, is the Authors Guild versus OpenAI. And we talked about OpenAI on that one we were discussing about AI in general using
Yeah.
data to train. That's the same one you're going to link, but OpenAI is under the same heat where they were pulling from these shadow libraries and training, but they're not outright saying, "Hey, we're pulling information from these massive pirating sites." They're not outright saying that, but the
Right.
information has come out that they are pulling from these shadow libraries,
Yeah.
and we're talking massive authors like George R. Martin, who is a part of that lawsuit.
Yeah.
And so and that one started in September of 2023. So that one's been ongoing, but
Okay.
we haven't heard about that one.
Right.
And that's what I think is very interesting. And Gabby had brought it up when she was on a few weeks back, which was the fact that Meta has become the villain. We are
Right.
targeting, and that's where all the publicity is being pointed to. But OpenAI has done a lot of stuff too, very, very similar tactics as Meta.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of the other
That's
big
very
ones.
what also is what's so interesting is if this stuff is so worthless, if authors and their works are so worthless, why is it such a point of contention? Why is it so important for Meta and OpenAI, and I'm sure Gemini and Cloud and all those other places? Why is it so vital for them to get that information if it has no value?
That's because it values them when they train the large language models.
Right.
They're
Well,
like,
obviously it has value.
yeah,
So the whole I can't see that Meta argument going. I can't see it lasting. I just can't see it lasting.
yeah. And so the OpenAI lawsuit is also using the fair use case and saying, well, it was fair use. And you're like, but you pulled from shadow libraries, which were pulling copyrighted work without authorization. That's illegal.
Right. And fair use is to use some other work, some other proprietary, creation or work to analyze it, to review it, to, explain it, that kind of thing. Right.
Hmm.
That's how you can do things on YouTube. Like, like watch a video and review it or use sound clips and review them and things like that. But you can't use that information to your own benefit,
Yep.
right? And fair use is very cloudy. It's super cloudy. I'm always afraid because like I want to use little sound clips or little video clips in my editing because everybody does since the beginning of YouTube. But I'm always so afraid, and being a creator, even more so, that I don't want to overstep what is fair use and go into stealing.
That is the entire reason I have put off doing YouTube shorts, is because on TikTok or even Instagram Reels, you can use that music that's
To just
licensed.
license through
Right.
the yeah.
And so I've always done that, and then people are like, "Oh yeah, you should do it on YouTube Shorts and just upload the video." And I'm like, "But what's the blurry line? Where is the line drawn where
Right.
I
Then are
download the
you
video?"
right? You're using that other creator's information
Right.
for your own stuff, and
Right.
not on a platform that hasn't licensed it.
Exactly. And so
No.
it's one thing I got really nervous about, and for the longest time I didn't touch it, and then I actually stumbled on an author who does it and is like, "No, you can totally do that." Because
Really?
YouTube will copyright that music and you don't get the royalties from that music.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
Which that
that's
makes
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
that clears up anybody who thinks that. That was a traumatic experience for me. I was like, I literally cannot look. I'm like, don't look at shorts. I don't want to touch it. But
Right.
turns out you can do that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
That's
so
yeah.
the returning back to the meta thing, there was an article and I was just trying to pull it up and I apparently closed the article before this recording and I'm dumb. And
You are incredibly unprofessional. Also, can you please tell that bird to shut the up?
She's having a meltdown back there, dude.
She really is.
she's she's like, this is my moment. And I'm like,
Right,
girl,
right.
I don't know what's going on down there, but we've obviously had a moment.
Yeah,
So
she look, and now we have to worry about copywriting her voice because
yeah,
it's on our channel now. So
I'm sorry. I'm
yeah,
sorry. So this article was somebody who got in there, heard about the Meta lawsuit, and then ironically went to Meta AI and said, is it illegal or can I use, I'm going to paraphrase the best I can because
sure.
I can't remember word for word. Can I use copyrighted material to train large language models, aka you? And the first response came back and said that is completely illegal and you should not be doing that, which was ironic
That's
because
crazy.
what was it trained on?
Right,
Exactly that. Now, mind you, this was right. So she said it was a couple of weeks that passed, and some massive stuff happened with Meta. Obviously, all the publicity came out regarding the Meta lawsuit. And then she went back and asked the same question. And the Meta AI came back and said, well, that's a complicated question. And it's really regarding where are you getting that data from? Does it fall underneath the fair use rights? I mean, it was just like this
right.
long answer. And I was like, wow, they prompted it to change that answer
That's
because of what their
crazy.
actions are. Yeah.
Right, because of what they're doing right now, and
Yeah.
what they're going through. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is wild. I'm very interested to see where it goes.
Yeah.
You know, I hate big business. I hate big companies. They just but unfortunately, they're a necessary evil. They really are. But they care zero for anything besides the bottom dollar. Besides making them richer. They just they're really evil things. So
Hmm.
I would love to see the entire thing burn. But at the same time, and Chelsea, now you all know our stance on AI. There are cloudy, blurry lines, and
Yeah.
there are some things that the AI is just awesome at. Oh, case in point, I don't know if I can screen share or if I can just I might pull up a couple screen caps and put it up later so people can see it. But in my book right now that I'm writing, I have used ChatGPT I've created a project channel for it, and I uploaded the manuscript. Okay, and I said, learn this, become familiar with it. You're going to be my writing assistant. So if I need reference points, if I need whatever, it can scrape whatever's in there and give me those reference points. I've used it to ask, hey, where was that one city, that's really far to the west because we're way over in the east. And I can't remember that. And I said, oh, it's here, blah, blah, blah. So super cool. But yesterday, I was writing a chapter that was recalling an earlier demon that Aofi, one of the protagonists, had defeated. And she was telling this certain person about it. And I couldn't remember the title that I had given this demon. I remembered his name, but I couldn't remember the title because I gave him like 3 or 4 titles in a row. And so I asked ChatGPT in the project, I said, hey, do you remember the demon back in chapter 4? Sure. I said, what titles and position did I give him when he and Aofi were battling? And it gave back, I'll put the screen cap up now so you can see my question and then you can see the answer. It gave me all the titles that I had given it. It gave me its relation to Aofi and a brief recap of their conversation and battle straight
Which
from chapter 4.
that is amazing.
It was glorious. I was just beside myself. I was like, this saved me getting out of this chapter, going back to that chapter, scanning the entire chapter,
Yeah.
finding all that stuff. It did that like that. It
Well,
didn't
and
steal, it didn't steal anything because it's my work. It's
no,
my work. I
it's
had it
your
scraping.
channel.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
dedicated everything to that channel. All the
Right.
information is your information that you've uploaded. It's become your own personal Google search engine.
Right. It's basically my own chat GPT.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't, I didn't go out and ask it, hey, scrape the web for anything you can find on, a demon of ash. And, no, I didn't do anything like that. I said, remember that demon's name? Go back, find out all this information that I gave it in chapter 4. Let me have it. It let me have it. And I was able to put that right into chapter 7 or
I
9
love
that I was working on. It was awesome. It was so cool.
I love that. And the other thing is, and I don't know if you felt this when you were looking for that, but forgetting which chapter it's in and
Oh
being like,
yes.
I have no idea. Like,
Yeah.
because I've had to do that a few times with even the project I'm editing right now, where I'm like,
Mhm.
where the heck was that piece of information? I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm
Right.
like, what keywords? What am I looking for?
Right.
Because again, I haven't been with this project for a while and going back in and getting, a comment on
Oh
something
yeah.
specific. I'm like, what are you talking about? I
Right.
don't
No,
remember
and yeah,
this.
to be totally transparent, yeah, I couldn't remember the demon's name and I couldn't remember what chapter it was in. So I had to, I said, I literally the question was, do you remember the battle with the demon and Aofi on top of the Titan's Crown Mountain? And then it went from there. Yeah, that's in chapter 4. Blah 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 blah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's so
it was
amazing.
so cool. So yeah, man. I mean, I hate big companies. I hate the despicable things they do. They are a necessary evil. And look, ChatGPT, man, or any of those models, they do have their value. There are a lot of gray lines. They do a lot of bad things, and I don't think that everyone using them for every purpose is probably right.
Right.
But yeah, for research for that kind of thing, goodness gracious, yeah, it was just very cool. I'll put that screenshot up so people can see it.
Absolutely do that. And again, the intent of the conversation is just to minimize the volatility and the villainizing of what can be a really incredible tool if used appropriately. It's just what the Spider-Man quote where it says, "With great power comes great responsibility." I mean,
Yeah,
come on, people.
yeah,
This
right.
is our moment, right?
Right. It's true. It's true. It's 100% true. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm super, super curious about that. But I did want to just open the conversation today with letting all the authors and writers know that all of their works are worthless and you should just stop.
yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah.
stop after this. I'm gonna let the manuscript burn.
Just burn it. Just burn it. And
I'm gonna.
or just upload it to Meta and say,
Oh,
hey, here you can have this.
oh, because they will find value in it.
Yeah, right. But there is no value in it. They will find value in it, but there is no value in it. So just
Exactly.
remember that. Yeah.
Individual contribution, no value. But for
Right.
the big multi-billion-dollar corporation, lots of value.
Lots of value. Right. Right.
the So it'll be really interesting to see the Authors Guild versus OpenAI. That one they think is supposed to be resolved in the fall. So
Interesting.
that'll be interesting to see because that one is very very similar to the Meta lawsuit that we're witnessing right now, and that is getting all the publicity. So based on the results from that one, I'm
Right.
assuming we're going to see a very similar outcome with the Meta
Yeah,
lawsuit.
it will definitely set precedence not only for
Yeah.
the meta one, but then any others that follow.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously there's international lawsuits regarding against Microsoft, Meta, OpenAI, and I'm sure some other ones right off, but I'm not thinking of right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm super, super interested in it. I'm also super interested in your progress on your query piece. Where are you at on that?
So by the time this airs, because we've changed our airing dates.
We changed we started moving we've been on Friday since we started. I think we've got like 29 videos up.
Yeah.
So somebody math. I don't know. We don't math. We've already told you that. But however many weeks that wait, we do it once a week, so it's 29 weeks. Okay, that was easy. I do math. Hey, look at that.
I'm
Look at me go, Chelsea.
so
Uh,
proud of you.
thank you. But we've always done Fridays, and I noticed a little trend on on the YouTube analytics page that we were getting more love on Sundays. Just a spike. We're still very, very small, of course. It takes forever to get anywhere on this platform or on any platform really. But I did notice a small spike on Sunday, so I was like, let's move the videos over to releasing on Sunday mornings. And we got this is the second week we've done it, and
Mhm.
we've gotten 21 new subs in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So cool. That works out. I'm glad. I'm glad more people are seeing it. More people are digging the vibe. But yes, we are on. We release on Sunday mornings now.
Yeah. So all of you, we love you.
Yeah, we do. We do. We love you. We're at 90 subs, and I know that's especially people who don't try to have a social presence or have never tried the YouTube thing. They'll be like 90 subs, man, go away.
You
Oh
kill.
yeah, I definitely understand that. But goodness gracious, 90 subs is something. So we're really happy about that.
Yeah.
And we don't just look at it as a vanity number, right? Go into the comments and look, man. I mean, we have conversations with everybody, and it's really cool to see a new name there that I don't recognize, and all of a sudden we have this giant conversation with them. So that's pretty rad.
I absolutely love it. Our goal is always to have it's the chaos and creativity, right?
Yeah,
Kick back, have fun, talk to you all, bring awareness and no filters. We're not
right,
sugarcoating anything.
right.
And just have a fun conversation about it
Yeah,
cuz we're all storytellers or readers too, and we just want to have a community. We just
yeah,
want to have
yeah.
fun.
That's all it is. And it's I think the more and more people get that and see that, the
Yeah.
more and more it'll grow. And I'm really excited for that. Also, I
Yeah.
guess while we're on the topic, if anyone doesn't know, we do also have a writing group that is growing. So I think there's a link on our Instagram page. You need an invite to get into it, so you can jump over to our Instagram page and get that link. We'll send you an invite. But it's good. It's a lot. I mean, every day there's support. There's people asking questions. There's people uploading their works. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? There's people sharing marketing strategies. It's rad. So if anybody's down with it, you should go check that out too.
Yeah, it's an awesome freaking community over there.
Yes,
That's and you said it a while back. You were like, I jump on there before Instagram or
I
anything
do
like that.
every morning.
I'm
Yep.
I'm doing the same thing. It's the
Yep.
first thing I do. I open Discord and I see what's going on because we have people all over the world over there. So conversations are happening at 3 a.m. in the morning when I'm
Right.
fast
Right.
asleep. And you wanting to catch up because it's fun. There's
Yeah.
awesome conversations.
It's great. It's a lot of fun. It's a community, and that's what we need as authors, as writers, especially in the indie sphere. So
Yes.
yeah, that's great. Didn't mean to derail you there,
You
babe.
derailed me.
What's your what's your update?
I'm just devastated. We should end
I
this.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I I suck.
You should be.
Yeah, I am. I'll never interrupt you again as long as we live.
You all missed it. We were not recording, but Micah got a new setup, and we have we were on, and he was like messing with the volume and everything, and it was got so intense. I was like, you can hear an effing gnat fart, like.
You could. It was unreal. Like you could hear crickets outside my closed window. It's wild. It's a great little system. If anybody's interested, if anybody is doing audiobook recordings or YouTube or anything, and they're interested in audio interfaces, holler at me. I'll show you what I got. And uh, man, it's good. I've used audio interfaces for years and years and years. I've done audio engineering, and this thing is super super impressive. I
You
love
can
it.
Yeah, you can hear the difference, like,
Yeah,
and it's obviously the prior was great,
yeah,
fantastic,
yeah,
but it's crazy what happens just that little bit of tweak and
yeah.
how much of a difference it makes.
And I haven't even played with it yet. I literally
Yeah,
plugged it in, made sure I wasn't peaking, and then checked the volumes. That's all I did. I haven't done any kind of
yeah.
EQ or anything on it. So hopefully it sounds good. If it doesn't, I apologize. I'll find out in editing if it sounds okay or not. But yeah, I'm super pumped, and it's pretty nice to have this since I might be
Oh!
narrating something sometime. I might be narrating something sometime. So it's good to have this.
Oh, I'll be reaching out, so.
Yeah, and somebody else might be narrating something sometime,
Oh my god.
and she might be needing the same interface. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh, so
Yeah,
many obligations we're setting up.
yeah, yeah. But a lot of it, Chelsea, has value.
It
Don't
does.
let Meta tell you otherwise. Don't let them tell you otherwise.
Meta, we're watching you.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Anyways, stop interrupting me. What's your update?
Okay, so by the time this airs, I will have finished the development edits for the query project.
Awesome. Awesome. And that was you had like you were knocking at like 200
Yeah.
edits, 200. Yeah.
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 So 200 comments, and a lot of it was clarification regarding just certain sentences or, I mean, just stuff that when I looked at it, I thought, wow, it was a humbling, surreal experience to revisit work that I wrote like 14 months ago.
Wow.
And just to see the mass difference. My family was probably gouging their eyes out because I went off on a huge tangent about this the other day because I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
wow, this is crazy. Because we as authors, we know we evolve. We know our craft changes over time. I know that from book 1 to book 4 there's a massive change, but I haven't necessarily opened book 1's manuscript or book 2's or
Right.
3's and been like, let's see what's going on in there. One, because I know that there are things where I go, man, I wish I would have done that differently, especially with the first 2 books. Specifically the first book because that was my debut and you
Right.
learn a lot in that process. But the revisiting the query project, which I wrote between book 3 and book 4, and seeing just how much I changed even from writing the draft of the query project and sending it to the editor, and then what I did in book 4, the difference between that with just even the writing style, even grammatically at line editing level, some of the passivity with my voice versus the more assertive voice in book 4 prior to edits. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And so a lot of those comments were addressing what I've already strangely was learning in book 4. And so
Interesting.
going back and being like, oh, why did I write it that way? I wouldn't have written
Right.
it this way. Like, and so I've made a huge list of line editing stuff that I'm actually, once the development edits themselves are done, I'm going to go through and spend the month of May really digging in and doing line editing work on it so it saves the editor their heartache.
Right. Right. Dude,
But
that's gonna be a great feeling to like you're done with book 4. You're done with the book that we're releasing simultaneously with your side of that. You're done with that book, the standalone. You're done with this query project. You literally can focus on like edits, marketing, things like that. I know you're playing with book 5. We've talked about that a little bit. You texted me the other day. She texted me the other day, and she's like, "Hey, you know that I don't know 30K word count progress I had in book 5." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, you're doing great. Yeah, I scrapped all that and started over at chapter 1, and I have like 2 sentences." I was like, "Oh, again, really? We're doing that. We're doing that again." So
doing that again.
yeah, we're doing that again. So that was fun to hear, but I think you have much more clarity on your direction now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the it's so fun. And I was telling maybe last week I was telling you that was that I've come to the conclusion that when I start the main saga books, I will start writing, scrap, start writing,
Right.
scrap, and then I
Right.
usually have direction because
And sure enough, you did it because you
yeah,
scrapped everything you had last week, or not even last week, a couple days ago, and started over. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's the discovery writer in me with the main saga, which for some odd reason I don't know what it is, and maybe because I'm working with multiple povs and there's just such a complex plot going on that I need to have the tone down immediately before I get too deep into it, because obviously that's a massive amount of rewrites if I need to tweak things. But when it comes to the standalone or even the query project, it's like I just go, oh, okay, that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
Even if I end up rewriting some stuff, I already have the direction and it's just more rewriting because I didn't like the way that chapter sounded. So I'm
Sure.
just like, there's a different way I can write this, even if it's
Right.
the same direction.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But with the main saga books, it's almost like I keep experimenting with different openings and, the first 10,000 words. And then I'm like, I hate that. Go back,
Right. Right.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
it's completely different process with the main saga, and I'm just like, "All right, embrace it. This is the way."
So are you going to aggressively get into book 5 during this May through December where you have like the edits and the marketing and then the new book coming out? Or are you going to wait until that December drop and then hit it where you have more free time.
I cannot wait till December to write the book.
Yeah, yeah.
But one thing is I am trying to take a much more outline approach with
Mhm.
the book 5, and that was inspired by you, just seeing how organized your process has been, being able to write a massive beast like that and be like, I'm confident with the direction and everything like that, and only making slight tweaks here and there. And that's something I need more of with the main saga, just because exactly what I just said is like
Right.
the redrafting and restarting over, scrapping, and it's I understand the discovery writer in me, but I also understand the fact that the standalone and the query project were done in such more organized methods. And I'm like, why I need to try to apply that to the main saga.
So I think the way that I look at outlining, and you've heard me explain it, so correct me if I'm wrong in how I want to present it. But the way I look at it is, instead of looking at the full story, the way I look at it is I outline by chapter. And basically all it's doing is it's breaking down that full story into a smaller story. And then I can focus on that smaller story one at a time. I think that's how I'm
Ooh.
able to expand and grow and really show the world in each chapter. Because like, so yesterday I started on chapter 9, and I'll put a picture up here of what my drive looks like, because it has like the completed chapters up here, and then it has the outline chapters down here. And once I have a completed chapter, it goes up here, and I go down to the next outline chapter, right? And I just go in order. But each outline chapter is 10 to 20,000 words.
Yeah.
So I'll have like a beat or a paragraph. So yesterday I started chapter 9, and the beat was, AFE is in the back of this wagon. She's injured. She's near death, and the Rand brothers are riding the dragon, or the wagon, and they're talking. That was basically it. So I'm just picking up after the battle that happened 4 chapters ago, and I was like, oh crap, where do I start from here? Because I didn't give myself anything. So I started, as I always do, and just started describing what was around them. And so I just started describing the wagon, and then I started describing, well, if Aoife is in the back of the wagon unconscious, she's probably getting bounced all around, and then, well, what else? Well, these guys are apothecaries, so there's probably a bunch of, glass and jars and all, and, ingredients and things like that. So I ended up taking this one sentence beat. That one sentence beat turned into 5 pages.
Wow.
They're still on the wagon 5 pages later.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's ridiculous.
It's beautiful.
3,000 words later, they're still in the wagon, and that 3,000 words came from that one sentence. I love it. I don't know if that's
That's
all. I don't know if that's how all outlining goes. That's not how I was taught in school that outlining goes. Outlining, the way you're taught outlining is terrible. It's just awful.
and that's probably why so I was never an outliner in school. Like even when it was if I was working in English projects or anything like that, it was just like they were like, "Oh, make sure you have an outline, a rough draft, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "F all that.
Like, never did that. Yeah.
I will write the draft and it will be the finalized
And
draft.
it's the
Thank you."
finalized draft, and then you'll go in and you'll edit
Yeah,
it and tweak it and make it good.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
that's how I've
that's
always done it too.
right. And so it's like I guess I never had like a positive experience. That sounds like so sad and sorrowful, but that's that's not what I mean at all.
Well, and I think that's why we talked about this last week, why the pantser thing, everybody wants to be a pantser now. It's
Yeah.
kinda like I don't know, it's like a status symbol, or is it some kind of status? I'm a pantser. That's fine, whatever. Most people are, to some extent, and some people are outliners. But when we say outline, we look at that the way we were taught in school,
Yeah.
and that's just not a good way that's not a good creative process.
It's not. The
Right.
school outline method was academic based, and
Exactly.
it was a learning curve. You're young kids, you're developing, it's helping you get your thoughts in a row.
Right.
But the creative outlining process is so different. And
Right.
I think in the last year I've really tried to experiment more with that, and the standalone was actually built off an outline for the most part.
Yeah.
Was and it was a phenomenal experience. I had the outline, I created it, I saw the beats, everything was crystal clear in my head, and I wrote 113,000 words in like freaking 7 weeks. Like I went nuts on it.
Incredible. Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
because I had the vision.
Right. It's so It's so much easier just to,
Yeah.
and like I said, to knock it down into chunks, into beats, into chapters, and things like that. And I think I feel more free when I do that,
Yeah.
to get into the world, to enter the world, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which is the goal of any creative, is to draw the reader or the viewer or the listener into their creation. And
That's
it's so much easier to do that
yeah.
when you have that one beat, and you can focus on that one beat to its full extent, whether it be a paragraph, whether it be 5 pages. You can focus on that, and then you move on to the next one. And then once that's done, move it out of the way, pull up the next one. So yeah, I don't know if I'll put it up when I set up with the first time or now, but I'll put the way my outline looks up there so people can see it. But I absolutely adore it. I don't know where, if that just came out of my butt, or if, if I learned that somewhere, if on some podcast or on some book, but that's how I do it. I really like it.
I love that. I wrote the first 300 words again for book
Right.
5.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew, I was like, okay, I'm going to come back to that. But mentally, it was like I had to get those 300 words down because that was the direction I want to go in, even
Right.
though it needs more fleshing out, more fun, but I really wanted to build up on that single word corruption. I was like, I want it to get dark. And
Yeah.
because Morai this is going to be one of his darkest books.
Cool.
And it's because he's spiraled from book 1 all the way to book 5. You've watched him slowly lose control. And so how the villain is born.
Yeah.
And so that's where for him, I really wanted to build up on that. And I knew book 5 would be his book, but it's going to be the biggest book of the saga. And I cannot
Awesome.
believe I'm saying that, but I can see it. I know it. And I'm like, okay. So what I did is, I don't have anything on Word documents yet or anything like that, but I have a notebook because I love fresh outlining on a notebook is like
Yeah.
the best feeling in the world. And I
Yeah.
do color coding and all that.
Awesome.
So what I did is, and I've been working on it since I texted you that, I have in the afternoons, because I stop working on my laptop any sort of edits after like 2 p.m. That's my
Mhm.
new habit. So I'm like,
That's great.
yeah, just walk away.
Yep.
But I will pull up my notebook and I start playing with the ideas and I start making notes. And I go,
Yeah.
okay, if this is connecting here, I'm going to go flip over a couple of pages and see chapter 12. Because they're
Yeah.
just like 3 or 4 line summaries of like major points that I want to happen, and
Yeah.
like making connections, little arrows, and being like, I want this to connect here and that. So I've
Yeah.
just been really trying to let it marinate and build up the the subplots with the plots, and how is it all going to connect with the character development. And that's actually been a lot of fun, just
Yeah.
not rushing into the writing and just letting it marinate and
Yep.
just go. Because so that's my goal, is I'm going to try to be doing that through the rest of April, May. I would prefer not to start writing book 5 until the end of May, even
Yeah.
the start of June, just
Yeah.
because it'll give me time to really marinate through all these storylines.
Yep.
Because everything, I have so many subplots that I'm having to return to from book 4. And then on top of that, the massive plot, which has been escalating since book 1 and
Right.
now was unleashed in book 4. And it's just like, there's way too much to going on where I can just BS my way through this one.
Yeah. Right. 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 Yeah.
I'm like,
You get
okay.
past a few books, you need to start to, okay, where's this all headed?
Yeah. I'm like, all right, congratulations. This is going to be, and this is, I think, this is where the anxiety is starting to kick in. I promised a 9 book saga. It's
I
going
was
to be
just
9
going to
books.
ask you. I was just going to ask you, has that number changed?
So I'm almost certain it's going to be a 9 book saga still. But I think there's some weird pressure I've put on myself where I'm realizing book 4 happened, but once book 5 happens, I'm over the halfway mark. And
Sure.
I there's gonna have to be, I know between book 4, 5, and 6, there's gonna be a lot of escalation. And how is that escalation going to complement and lead into the final trilogy? I don't know. So
Yeah.
I think that book 5 is gonna be, book 4 was laying out a lot of things that I had waited books to write, literally years,
Right.
because I wanted to do the fantasy right and the characters justice and how they got to that point. And now that we're here, I'm like, oh crap. Okay, how do I want to make this work? So
Yeah.
I think book 5 is starting to really represent a lot of that. And now I'm kind of like, okay, take your time. And if that means a later publishing date, like June of next year, make it June,
Right.
just so you
Absolutely.
can do the story
Do
justice.
do the story justice.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
real.
You got so much on your plate, man. It's crazy. I did want to ask, when you mentioned your family, do
What?
you let them read your work? Do they
My
want
mom
to read it?
does.
Your mom does? Yeah. Yeah.
So my mom does. My dad is not a reader at all.
Yeah.
Like it's actually a running joke where he's just like, "Yeah, I don't read,"
Yeah,
and he's
sure.
like, "And my daughter's an author,"
Yeah. Right.
because he actually has colleagues that he works with that read my work because they're big epic fantasy fans, and so they'll be like, "Oh my
Awesome.
gosh," blah blah blah, and he's like, "Yeah, so,"
Yeah. Yeah,
and he's
I don't read that.
yeah, he's
Does
like,
he
"But
like fantasy? Does he watch, like, Dune, Lord of the Rings when they're on
I
film,
force him
or
to.
yeah,
I
okay,
force
so
him to."
he could live without it anyways.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
just never been a reader
yeah,
ever. Like, and that's where we've had this conversation where he's just like, he goes, I read and it's like my brain just wanders. He's like, it doesn't matter what I pick up. He's like,
yeah.
my brain wanders. And he's like, I've been like that all my life. And I'm like, I'm not expecting you to read my work. My
Right,
God.
right.
Like, but yeah, no, it's really funny. I do talk to him about it all the time though. So
Yeah, yeah.
he knows
Yeah,
everything.
you're gonna force a little bit on him, I mean, you got
Of
to.
course. I
Yeah,
basically make him watch stuff. I'm like, you're gonna freaking watch this.
right,
Like,
right.
he's like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't no nobody in my family, like my wife, none of my kids, they're not readers.
And
So,
it's so funny when isn't it weird? You're like, oh wait, that's I don't know how to bring this up because it's
right.
not there.
It's not, yeah, it's not, they're not interested at all. So, like, I've talked to other people about it,
Talk to the wall.
one of the guys I met up at the coffee shop, he, every day he wants an update. He's like, What happened in that chapter?"
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, he's like, he's so
Wait,
into it, it's hilarious.
a total stranger that you met?
Total stranger. He had sat down next to me one time. I was like, what are you working on? I was like, "Oh, I'm writing blah blah blah." So we started talking, and he was working on, he was studying the Bible and doing something. So we started talking, and uh, I just hooked him immediately. Like, I let him read like a couple paragraphs. He's like, "You wrote that?" He's like, "Okay." So every day, because I'm up there every day now. Every day he comes in. He's like, what happened to Iliadara? What happened to Strin? What happened to Aofi? Like every day. So he's
Oh
like,
my
yeah,
god.
it's awesome. It's awesome.
That gave me chills. That is like I kind of want to cry. I'm like,
Yeah,
why am I
it's
having
so
this
fun.
emotional response? Okay,
No,
whoa.
it's really cool. Like, that's one thing I've noticed about going to the coffee shop is everybody's up there, doing studies or writing or things like that. And so it's not hard to meet people and talk to people. Like, one of the baristas, she said, what is your name? I haven't met you yet. I'm Micah. She's like, "Oh, I'm Olivia." I was like, "Okay, cool." She's like, "What are you working on?" So I told her, and she's like, "That is awesome." So now she comes over, and every once in a while she'll bring me over a free drink, because I get like 2 or 3 a day, and that gets expensive. So she'll bring me over a free one every once in a while, and she'll like look over and she'll like read as I'm typing. Like, it's really funny.
Oh my gosh. That is the essence of humanity
It's
right
so
there.
fun. It's so
That
cool.
is that is like the most beautiful thing I've heard in weeks,
Yeah,
honestly. Like
yeah.
I am speechless. That
Yeah,
is
it's awesome. It's like I
yeah.
said, I had always avoided working in public, writing in public. I thought it would distract me, but man, you put those headphones in about 2 minutes, the world fades away, and you're just there, and it's
That was
just,
gonna be my next question was the headphones. Do you put those in?
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I can't work without them. One day I forgot them, and I had to actually leave. I just asked them. I was like, because it was busy. I was like, "Can I leave my backpack and PC and everything here? Will you guys watch that? Because I got to go home and get my earbuds." They're like, "No problem, no problem." So yeah, without the earbuds, it's chaos. Everybody's million conversations, the music,
Yeah.
the grinding of the beans, the steamer, like, it's just way too much. But
Wow.
yeah, you put those earbuds on in, and 2 minutes you're gone, and you can just go. And then every once in a while, somebody will come over and talk to you about it. It's a lot of fun.
That is like that makes my soul so happy.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I love
a lot
that.
of people bring their puppies in, so
Oh,
I constantly get puppy kisses, which is awesome. I think
dude,
every day I go in, I get puppy kisses, so that's a lot of fun.
that's like a freaking that is an endorphin dopamine
Oh, it's great.
release right there.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
god.
it's
That is
awesome.
amazing. So, big question then is
Mhm.
you put those earbuds in, what's the music?
Dude, every day since I've been up there, and every day, like every day since, it has been the same playlist. It is the best playlist I have ever found for writing. I don't know if I can get it to focus.
Something, does that say something fantasy?
Yeah, I can't focus it, but I'll share it with you. And if anybody wants, I'll share it with them too. Just let me know. It's unbelievable. It is. I mean, it's 146 hours long.
Oh.
Okay, there are just thousands of songs in here, but it's all instrumental, epic fantasy, like orchestral. Dude. So it's called Ultimate Fantasy Story Writing Inspiration. One big playlist for all your fantasy writing needs, and it is
Yeah,
yeah,
please share that with me instantly. Thank
dude.
you.
It's yeah. I'll send it to you. It is unbelievable. You hit play, you're immediately taken away, and you don't come out until you take them off. Like it's
Oh,
that good.
I have been trying to build a playlist like that forever, but trying to find music that just sticks and that's just like that was made for that
Yeah.
is so difficult because you like,
No,
what the heck am I looking for?
no need to
You know?
build it, dude. It's right here,
Yeah.
140 something hours long. It'll last you however long you're
Wow.
riding. It's amazing.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so other big question, and you know it's coming. Last week, I said you need to write 100K. Where are you at?
So I forgot to look before we got on. So that is my bad.
WTF?
That is my bad. I totally forgot about it. I spaced. I would venture to say I'm not quite there yet. I would venture to say I'm not quite there. I only got 3,000 words in yesterday, which
Yeah,
normally I
but
have like 5 or 6.
did you write prior to that? Or was that the
Well,
first thing
I've been
you
doing a lot of going back, a lot of
Oh,
cleaning
okay,
up.
okay.
I changed one of the characters' names, so thank God
That's
for
so
Control
freaking
F.
Yeah,
Thank
I
God
did
for
that.
Control F. Find replace. That made it a lot easier. But the find replace didn't hit all of the like possessive, things like that. It
Yep.
didn't hit all of those right, so I had to go back. So I was doing a little bit of cleanup, and I was just taking probably because the fact that you challenged me to do it. I think subconsciously I wasn't doing it. I was doing other things. I was being very productive. I had to go do work on the website. I had to get those images back working right. Elementor had an update, and I don't know why it would crash the images if there's an update. I don't get that.
Yeah, I've never had that happen before where it was like because I've had Slider Revolution updates and things like that come through,
Yeah,
or even the World Baking Bakery
yeah,
page, which is the same as Elementor, but that's what I use.
yeah.
And they've come through with mega updates, and I've never had that happen before.
Yeah, I had
I
neither. So, I don't get it. But with an update, it all fixed. So that I went in and I fixed some. I've changed a few quotes that I had in there. I put another blog post up. So I was just doing other things, probably subconsciously to avoid the challenge of hitting 100K.
Wow.
I'll bet that's why. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
It's fine. I won't
Don't
forgive you.
don't hate on me, Chelsea.
I am.
I was doing the Lord's work.
I was doing the
I was,
Lord's
I was
work.
doing the Lord's work.
That's glorious.
Don't hate on me.
That is amazing. So
Yeah.
you're gonna write though today?
I don't know if I'll get there. Thursdays are the one days that I don't get to go to the or the coffee shop. I don't get to go to the post office. I don't get to write. I never write here in my office. I never write in my office.
Yeah.
The office is for work, and writing isn't work. Writing is a joy. So it's either in bed with my laptop or out on the couch. It's somewhere like that.
Oh, writing on the couch and
Yeah,
in bed.
yeah.
Two epic
Oh
locations.
yeah, it's wonderful. So it's there or it's up at the coffee shop. But I have Decky today, so Amanda only works one day a week at
Yeah,
the eye doctor, so she's up there at the eye doctor on Thursdays. So I have Decky all day. So it's usually a daddy Decky day on Thursdays. But then
I love
tomorrow, all day, I have to go in the office early in the morning. I have to launch an update code, and I have to format a finish formatting a manuscript for somebody. And then, so probably from about 11, so 11 a.m. to like 5 p.m. I'll be at the coffee shop, right?
Good.
Yeah,
Good. Good. My goal is to get to the coffee shop. I think this year when I start more writing, I think I'm
yeah,
going to try to make it and cuz I want to see what it's like because you have talked so positively about it and I've
so
yet
good.
to do it. And so I'm like, okay, when you sit down and you start writing book 5, like really writing it, maybe sometime in June, go and see what it's like.
And when you first go in, like the first day, maybe 2 days, you go in, you kind of feel like a poser. because you're like, you've never been there before. You walk in with your laptop and your bag, and you're like,
I
okay, where do I sit? Like what, you know, so you kind of feel silly like the first day you go in because you're going in with you're not just going in to get a coffee, you're going in with a purpose to sit
yeah.
there and spend time there. But yeah, after like day two, like it'll just become routine. You'll be down with it. It's wonderful.
Yes. Okay.
And
Okay.
now you have the perfect playlist. So
I really want to try that playlist. Oh my
it's so good.
gosh.
As soon as we hit, and I'll send it to you. It's so good.
Okay, I have a question for you.
What?
I have a question about your manuscript and your writing. So, and this was something I was like, I was sitting there and I was just like, oh, gosh, because I was reflecting on my own work and kind of what I've been, experiencing and stuff like that. And I was just like, okay, I want to ask Micah this. But as you write this story, is there what has become one of your favorite tropes? Obviously, you're writing this and you're like, oh my gosh, I wanted all of this involved. And every trope you're writing about is exactly what you want to write about.
Right, right.
But has there been one as you explore and create and flesh out these characters and everything that you're going, this speaks so much to me?
Is colorful, kooky, goofy side characters? Is that a trope? I think that is a
I
trope.
get side characters are an absolute trope.
Yeah, so like the goofy, kooky,
Yeah.
kind of out there side characters and side communities and things like that. I am having a blast building the world, and so when I get to like the Rand brothers, who I just introduced, they are just so fun. The Fey folk. You've seen some of their work. They are hilarious. I'm having so much fun with the side characters. That kind of brings the levity into the story, the otherwise
Yeah.
pretty heavy story. So I think that is one of my favorites. Is I'm having so much fun, and you just can't help but just like laugh when you read some of these scenes. You see, like, there was a scene yesterday where AOF was she was healing. She heals faster
Mhm.
than the normal person. So at one point they were in the back of the wagon. These brothers, they're very short. They're human. They're just very short. They're like 5 foot, like four. Well, I think they're 4 foot tall. I haven't decided their exact height yet, but they're called half men. But they're men. They're just very short. They're
Love that.
brothers. They're very fat, and they wear these straw hats. And so they were in there talking to AOF, and all of a sudden she's like, "I think I'm going to try to get up." And so she pulls the sheets off. Well, she had just gotten done, battling a demon and calling down a comet and destroying a mountain. So her clothes were gone. So she was naked, and they flipped out, like they squealed like children and pulled their hats down in front of their faces, and they started backing out the back of the wagon. But they're so short that they like actually like fell out the back of the wagon and they landed on their backs. So then AOF comes out. And she's like, they're like, "Oh, you're naked, whatever." And she's like, "No, I'm not. I grabbed a shirt yesterday while you guys were sleeping. I'm fine." And so she was fully clothed, and but they're sitting on their backs, but their hats are still covering their faces because they don't believe her. And she
That
starts talking to them like they look like they're flipped turtles, and it's just a very cute, fun scene. A very innocent brothers, and it's a lot of fun. So I love those kind of characters.
those are such fun characters.
Yeah.
That's I came across that's so funny you say that because that's kind of what inspired the question for me because I was reading through there's a massive festival that takes place and Victor's kind of this like I need to do the right thing. I believe the best in people and I've found myself in the middle of like a massive political war and world ending uh situation that I'm trying to unravel. And while his best friend has been resurrected into a god with revenge, and he's like all over
Yeah.
the place, and he's kind
Right.
of like uptight a little bit because of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And his friend, who's kind of like his other best friend, because they've been alive for a while, and so Darren is just like he's kind of this flirt, and he's like he's going around these festivals, these ladies. Like I really took time to kind of build up the culture, the painting, the leather work, everything, and they're just like these ladies are trying to like, can we paint you, take your clothes off, blah, blah, blah. Cause that's the culture.
Yeah.
And Victor's like, F this. He's like, but my friend will be able to do it. And his
That's
friend has
hilarious.
abandoned him. And he's like, where the hell is he?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I'm sorry. He probably has his head in some tits or something already.
Right.
Like,
Right. Right.
like, it's just like one of those cute
It's
scenes
awesome.
he's kind of been forced into the situation where he's like, he's very uncomfortable and he's trying to do the right thing because ceremoniously he has to be there.
Yeah, yeah,
But his friend has abandoned him for the
yeah,
good time. And he's like,
yeah,
oh my God, you
yeah.
know?
I love those situations,
Yeah.
those scenes, those characters. There, so that is definitely one of my favorite tropes.
It's so much fun.
Yeah,
It's lively, it's real, it's relatable. Yeah, no, those are side characters are some of my favorite.
yeah.
They're That's so funny you bring that up because that's like literally why I brought up the question
That's
was
crazy. Yeah,
because
that's
of
right.
that scene. I was like, wow, that's
We're
such a cute scene.
any new viewers, you got to understand. Chelsea and I are synced, and we didn't plan that. We are synced sometimes. It's really freaky. Yeah,
It's like crazy. I don't, man, I wish I could like quote some things because we have done some things where we're like, this is weird,
yeah,
like right on camera, and we're like, what?
right. It's really weird how in sync we are sometimes.
Yeah.
You had one other thought of
Oh, I did.
yeah, like actual something to talk about. What was that?
So I came across an account a few days ago and it kind of stirred up a point and topic for me that I've thought of before but then forgot because life gets going. But the thing is I've noticed authors like to take a screenshot of their royalties and post it, and they'll be like, this is the royalty, this is the number of orders, this is the number of KU reads, or one of each, something. So, and I kind of get a little like, mm, because I think when you start saying this is how much money I made, I think it can come across very discouraging for other authors.
I agree. I have seen some of those. I didn't see that what you're talking about, but I've seen those in the past. Normally, though, I see them with like one sale and
Yeah.
zero money's made.
Yeah, and it's
You
like
know,
victimizing
yeah.
almost.
I guess there's two sides to
There
each
is.
coin, right? Because I when it first started and everybody was doing it, I remember I posted mine and I said, like my lifetime sales, my lifetime royalties, and I said, look, this looks like, you know,
I
like
remember that post.
yeah. I was like, this is pennies, right? To
Yeah.
some this could be nothing, to some this could be, not even worth doing. To others, this could be like something they strive for years before they hit. You know, that's not the reason for showing this. The reason for showing this is that this is success to me.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of trying to hit that middle road of like, if you have low sales and low royalties, don't be the victim. You'll get there eventually. You'll get to where you want to be. You have to define your own success. And if you have made sales and if you have
Yeah.
made some good royalties, don't flaunt it. Don't put it out there as like you're proud or you're happy. I guarantee you there's a million other writers that are better than you. There always is. There's always somebody bigger. There's always somebody
Yep.
better. So I think there are two coins and there are two sides to each of those coins.
That's such a well put answer because like I can see both sides. I see people that want to that's post it because they're like, holy crap, look what I've done. Like
Yeah.
2 years ago I never would have thought that.
Right.
In the other breath, I feel like the majority of the people out there, and this is just from personal experience from those who have shared that I follow. So I'm not speaking on a broad term. I'm speaking from personal experience from knowing those individuals.
Yeah.
It's a very negative affecting posture method
Yeah.
where it's like, look how great I am. And
Hmm.
it can come across very demeaning and dismissive to the others in the community that are going, gosh, I'm still trying to figure out my own path. What is if I'm not there like this person, maybe I'm not doing it right, or maybe I shouldn't be doing it at
Right.
all.
Very,
And
very damaging, very
yeah,
destructive for
yeah.
the individual and for the community, I think.
Yeah. But I do think there's people out there that post that and go, holy crap, I've never seen this number before. And who knows? Like I'm the first to admit I've talked about the pre-orders and stuff like that because I thought, holy crap, 3 years ago, I would have never thought I would have been there.
Right. It's
Like
it's
that
good to
isn't
show
crazy.
it's good to show where you came from and where you are,
Right.
as long as you're doing it for the benefit of others.
Yeah.
You definitely don't need to brag because unless you're one of the one of the very few indie authors that have made it. You're in the same boat. Yes, you may have
Exactly.
sold more, you may have sold less. It doesn't matter. You're in the same boat. Everybody's in the same boat. Like I said, I only did it once, and the only reason I did it was to say, hey, this is where I started. This is where I am now. Some people might think that's success. Some people might think that's failure. But I have defined success as this right here. And going forward, there will be more, because I look at the community, and I look at the conversation coming back to me through the book, and that kind of thing. So that is my success. So yeah, if you put it up as an encouragement, as a mile marker, for people, I think that's wonderful. If you're putting it up to brag, goodness gracious, bragging and being full of yourself is so dangerous, because like we just said, there's always somebody bigger. There's always somebody better.
Yep. And that's the account I saw who posted was doing that.
That's
And
crazy.
that's what stirred up. That was like, come on, that's kind of effed up,
Yeah.
Like you're posturing yourself like you're almost, and I use this term loosely, but godly to the writers that are being told to look up to you because you are saying you have all the answers.
Right.
And it's like nobody has all the answers.
Right.
And everybody has to forge their own path. And everybody's exactly what you said. Everybody has to define their own definition of success.
Yeah.
And you have to lay your head down at night and go, I am happy with the direction I'm going in.
Right.
That's not, don't compare yourself to anybody else's journey or think that you have to follow somebody else's path. Like find what works best for you and what gives you the most opportunity to be successful,
Right.
because everybody's going to be different.
And define your own success. Don't
Yeah.
define success by somebody else's success.
No.
That's a terrible place to be.
No. Yeah. That's where the conversation kind of, I was just like, I was kind of ticked. I was like,
Yeah. So you'll have to send me that person's account so I can see it later. Now I'm curious. So yeah, send it to me.
Okay.
We won't share it here. The link will be in the description below. But yeah, we won't. We won't share her. But I am curious. So I will have to see that.
I have a lesson learned for everybody. Okay, there's a lesson to be had from
I
my
love learning. I love learning lessons.
Okay, so and it I'm not even upset. I have been just chuckling my way through this entire experience because I'm just like, wow, So I cross-published between KDP and Ingram Spark, and especially because of the hard book. Now, Amazon cleared my paperback and was like, you're good to go. And I was like, cool, awesome, everything's uploaded. I went to go publish and it was like, no, I don't know if I like how that map is placed on page 5. And I was like, first off, you can go F yourself because Ingram has cleared it and it looks great on print. Like I see it, I have it, like everything looks good.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of one of those things where I was like, pick your battles. Do I really want to sit here and start messing with this? Or do I just want to have Ingram supply the paperback? Especially KU or KDP already has my ebook. So I was like,
yeah, you really could. And for people who don't know, you very easily could go Ingram for full distribution, because Ingram will have it on
do.
Amazon.
They'll
right?
submit the metadata. Yeah.
The only time they won't put it on Amazon is if they see that KDP already has it. Of course, then they can't do that. That's conflicting. But you can use Ingram as your full distribution and just use Amazon for your ebook. To take advantage of KU and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right. And so prior, I had done full distribution for my hardback, and then I had done the paperbacks through KDP, the ebook and paperbacks.
Yeah.
Prior to February, it was ebooks were also widely distributed. And then obviously I moved to KU. Right. But this time I was kind of sitting here and I was like, okay, I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, do I pick this battle? And do I sit there and pull up Atticus when I'm trying, I have a lot of other things going on. I'm like, do I really want to pick this battle and sit here and start trying to tweak a millimeter on the map?
Right.
No, I really don't. Yeah. Like, honestly, I'm like, I cannot fight that. And maybe in 3 months I will. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see how I feel. But so anyways, I decided to do wide distribution with the paperback on Ingram Spark.
Cool.
And with the dust jacket. Here's the thing. I plugged in the wrong publishing details. So So when I made it, this is like, I'm like, I
And
have,
the problem is Ingram is not easy to correct
they
the
are
metadata.
now. They
They
are
are.
now.
Okay,
They
okay,
are.
hit me.
So, and I will be the first to admit, several years ago when I was, I had to do updates for like book 2 or something, it was a effing nightmare.
It
But
was,
they've
yeah.
gotten a lot easier. They implemented an entirely new, more friendly platform for you to work on. And
Sweet.
so like I can, like, the first 60 days I can upload new files
Now
and
I
with
knew that. I
no,
knew they did that,
yeah,
yeah. Okay.
but I can go into the book details and I can edit those instantly, and then the metadata transfers.
That's
Um,
nice. That's
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So that was the thing. Like I was like sitting there and I'm like, why isn't my paperback and my hardback connecting with my ebook? I'm like, I see them. They're there. What is going on? And I emailed KDP over the weekend and I was like, hey, I was like, is this a thing where I have to tell you like what's going on? Well, I've never had to deal with this before. Because usually everything just syncs up, right? The hardback just links up to the others when I used to do
Right.
just the hardback.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, generally, he's like, we can't do that if they're not sharing under your account, the ASIN and stuff like that. He's like, but he's like, they will automatically sync within a week if they have the same publishing details. And I was like, oh, did I F up? I'm like, I've done this a few times. How did I
Right.
F this up?
Right.
So
Right.
I literally signed into Ingram Spark and I had 2 different publishing names for each, the paperback and the hardback. And I was like, what did I do? Like,
That's
did I
hilarious.
hit my head when I uploaded these details?
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to change everything. And now it looks like it's starting to clear up, but I have to pay attention to it and see if it starts
That,
to sync.
I'm glad it's clearing up because yeah, that's getting into the metadata of on the Ingram Spark side used to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the metadata nightmare. That was what happened with my first book.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
and that I was a traumatizing experience, but I had learned so much from that experience
Yeah.
and continued to learn about metadata that when this situation happened and they have a more friendly platform, I was just like, okay. And I just opened up the title and started editing a few things. I was like,
That's
all right,
awesome.
Chelsea, welcome back to reality. So
Awesome.
everybody, if you have multiple distributions, make sure those details match up. The publishing name, imprint, I mean, all of that.
And they have
So
to match up like perfectly, like even spaces between the letters. If you've
yeah.
got like an apostrophe somewhere and not in the other, I mean, to the key they have to match up, or it'll.
Yeah, like, yep. I was pulling up book 3 and I was like, what data did I put down? I was like,
Right.
because obviously I didn't have any issues. So I'm like, okay, make sure everything looks good. So yeah, we should see some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
good.
yeah, that was my hilarious WTF moment. I've done this a few times. Why did I mess this up
Yeah.
moment?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wanted to share.
Yeah,
So
well, I'm glad you did, and it's good for everyone else to know.
yeah.
And I may be coming to you to talk about when our release in December for the Stinging Blade. I might end up doing full release on paperback and hardcover on Ingram, and just using KDP
I think
for
it's a
the ebook.
fantastic choice. I was originally a little bit bitter that Amazon was suddenly like, no, you can't, even though I got approved and everything, and it just
Yeah,
said publish your book. Like I went through the review and everything. Um, and because I had done originally my paperback through KDP, and I was like, are you effing kidding me? And then I started thinking about it more, and I was like, actually, that gives me a lot more freedom with just the fact that I can have wide distribution for paperback, which I think is a smarter move because hardbacks can be so expensive.
right.
And I'm also going to point out the fact, and I don't have them, I would have to get up, and I don't know how the camera's going to look on this, but the paperback KDP color is a lot more washed out than the Ingram printed color.
I believe
And
that.
I started looking at it, and it's the first book I've really noticed that with, but Ingram Sparks' color is much more vivid.
I
And
believe
so
that.
at the end of the day, I was like, that's probably a smarter move because
Yeah,
the color is exactly how it looks on the cover, but the KDP paperback print looked a little bit washed out. I was like, what? It was
yeah,
still beautiful, but if I was starting to pick apart things.
yeah.
So I was like,
Well,
all right, screw it.
so I do have to say, echo your sentiment on the KDP. I'm sorry, not KDP. Ingram Spark getting easier. So Daniel is on his way to his own platform, right? He's leaving Anatolian Press which is a mutual decision, something we've been working on for a long time because I'm trying to fade out Anatolian Press. I'm trying to fade out Anatolian Press, but we work on that. Want to make sure we get everything right. And I had some of his books going through Ingram, and some of them going through KDP. So KDP is easy, boom, unpublished, whatever, archive, you're good. KDP, I'd been reading nightmares about unpublishing and archiving books through them. Like it takes 8
wow.
weeks, and sometimes they just won't do it, and blah blah blah. So I looked on there, and there's no just click a button like there's on KDP. So I hit contact, and what's this about? And I told him removing books from print. Sent an email. Hey, good morning. This is Micah. Here's my ISBNs. I would like these removed from publishing, also deleted from the account. These rights are going to somebody else. 4 hours later, dude emails me back. Hey, just want to clarify. Do you want to archive them but leave them available for author pricing purchases, or do you just want to just blast them? I was like, hey, thanks for explaining to me that you could actually, you can archive them but leave them there for author prints or whatever. I was like, no, blast them. 2 hours after that, done. So within the same day of the request, it was done. I was blown away.
Wow.
For anyone who's never used Ingram Spark or anything like that, or KDP with the customer service, you're usually waiting days, and they were just like that. So yeah, they may have very well enhanced and improved their customer service and the way they're.
Well, so to piggyback off you, when I pulled the ebooks off Ingram Spark in order to go to KDP, the KU Select program, I had emailed them. Now, it took me a couple of days to hear back from them, but when I heard back from them, they did the same thing you did. They wanted to confirm everything. I reached back out immediately and I said, yes. I said, I'm moving to KU. I said, so I need these deleted and no longer distributed at all. And they were like, cool. Within 24 hours, the entire title was canceled and was pulled from distribution. And that to me was that was such a relieving experience compared to the metadata catastrophe that I was a part of with book one, which was the metadata didn't transfer correctly to Ingram Spark or to KDP. And then all the pre-orders that were done through Ingram Spark never went through. And I was like, that is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So they must have greatly improved their service. Yeah.
It would take when that 4-week debacle, which was a terrible debut author experience.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, was like I would reach out to them and I would go a week without hearing anything. And then I would get passed to somebody else. And then I had to re-explain the entire situation. And then I would get passed to somebody else again. And then when I was trying to tell them it was a metadata issue after hours of my own research, they were telling me I was wrong. And I was like, what is happening? Can somebody just retransfer the metadata?
Right.
Just send it. And so that was such a frustrating experience. But I can honestly say, like, having stuck with Ingram with the physical copies, especially author copies, it's like I have noticed a night and day change in their customer service platform and even the platform in setting up books. It's just like, I think they've come a long way.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's good to hear. Yeah. It makes me much less anxious for Steam Blade when that time comes. So yeah.
And I think the color quality is a lot better. Like I said,
way
different product.
The cover and my cover, everybody's cover is great. So your covers are great. It's one, but my cover is just, I'm so, as I should be, I'm thrilled with it. I'm so in love with it. I want that thing to pop. I want to see it as vibrant and as magical as I can. So yeah,
I'm gonna send you, and so I'll send you, and then if you want, you can share them on here. But I'll send you the paperback and the hardback so that you can see the difference in the color quality. Everybody can see it for themselves, and you, because at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. We're just sharing info.
That's what we're doing, man. Just sharing info. We're all writers. We're all authors. We're all readers. We love literature. We love writing, reading. This is what we do. This is what we do. I have been Micah.
I've been Chelsea.
Together, we have not been a podcast. We have been Indie Authors Unplugged, Chaos and Creativity. We're kind of a podcast, but not, yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Wait, I did it again.
What the f- is that?
Please like and subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. I don't know what that does. I think it tells you when we upload a video. Please thumbs up. Like, subscribe. Like and subscribe. Comment. comment. We love comments, and we do get back to everybody. Yeah, let us know what you think. What you think episode. You know, bye.
Bye.